Ladies and gentlemen, this is the YouTube channel vlog show of inspiration and realness. Also, this is the YouTube channel vlog show of positivity, personality, and fun. This is Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, and now the perpetrator of these shenanigans, Big Beefy E himself from his Big Beefy Man Cave in New Bedford, Massachusetts, Mr. Shenanigans himself, and the two-time Chilling 3000 2022 End of the Year Awards winner, Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's episode 422 of the show, and this is the 5th edition of Top of the Shenanigan Charts. I want to thank, and the reason why I'm holding this pad in me, because the list I'm about to do is too large for my board. I usually write them down on the dry erase board and all that. So this is a suggestion from the Godfather Dominic Williams. Once again, thank you, Godfather Dom, for this. And he got an idea for this list. He told me that I should put out my favorite WrestleMania matches, be handpicked by me personally. Now, this is not going to go. This is just my favorite matches I like to see, and I've watched and I've thoroughly enjoyed and what the matches meant to me and all that. And I know a lot of people will say, how come you don't like this match or that match or all that? It's that sometimes you want to like matches that are you don't have to like the matches that everybody likes. There's going to be some matches that all people liked, and they're part of my list. This is a tough list for me. All my favorite WrestleMania matches. This is about WrestleMania. This WrestleMania is coming up in about, let's see, April the 1st is 2 weeks from. It's about 2 weeks from the Saturday will be WrestleMania, and Saturday is going to be a packed day. That's for sure, because there is going to be a lot of stuff being done, and as you know, WrestleMania season is right around the corner. Like, obviously, you talk about 2 weeks from this Saturday. And this is crazy, to say the least. And I have to admit this. This is something that, I have to admit this is going to be, this is something that, okay, it's surreal. It's just totally surreal. It's going to be crazy insane, to say the least. So, this was a tough list, and good thing I have all the WrestleMania DVDs lined up over here. Now I can just jump out and just check out and see what kind of matches that I like. Some there are some matches I'll be left out, and a lot of people will probably be asking me if you do suggest a match that I did not list here. I decided to pick my top 20 favorites, and I'm not going to put them like in ordinary order. I just wrote them down, and as you know. Some of them are very significant to me in the deal, and I'm just really, really excited about this list because like I said, there's some reasons why I like some of these matches. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna tell you the matches and what WrestleMania it came from, so you can understand why I like some of these matches. I know not a lot of people are going to be liking the list that I have. This is my personal favorite handpicked matches. All right, just let you know, this is my personal favorite handpicked matches. My personal favorites. And Godfather Dominic Williams had a great idea about this. So let's get right on going with this, because the fact of the matter is, I personally feel that this is going to be a good list. So here we go. We're going to start with The Rock versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18. Now, a lot of people want to see Hogan and Austin go at it. Well, Austin was in a feud with Scott Hall. I would have liked Hogan versus Austin as well. But The Rock and Hulk Hogan, because Hulk Hogan was a man who also made Hollywood movies, and made movies back in the day. The Rock sees it go to that path. So it made sense that the two of them would collide. And it was something when, it was something that I think when The Rock and Hulk Hogan stood in the middle of the ring on Monday Night Raw and went excuse me for just a second, my back's kind of itchy. Good thing I had a back scratcher. And just, it was, and when I first saw it, I'm like, holy cow, this is actually happening. This is like actually happening. And it was nuts. It's like, wow, whoa. It was like time stood still. People may say Ali versus Tyson or something like that. All the people talk about dream matches from other sports, like Babe Ruth versus Barry Bonds and Ali versus Tyson and all that. But when you get The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, and that dream became a reality at WrestleMania 18, the crowd was on fire that night. I mean, at WrestleMania Skydome, people chanted for The Rock, people chanted for Hogan, and at the end, both men did respect each other. That was a huge part. Both men did respect each other, and that was a huge part in the end. They ended up joining forces. And they ended up fighting each other again a year later when The Rock turned heel. But either way, The Rock versus Hulk Hogan was a dream matchup for a lot of folks, including myself. And that's why it's one of my favorite WrestleMania matches, The Rock and Hulk Hogan. Number 2, The Undertaker versus Diesel at WrestleMania 12. Now, this is one matchup I was looking forward to. Now, The Undertaker, over the years, when he turned face in 92, they had him face all the guys who are like close to his size or even bigger than he. And these two men went at it. I mean, this is when Diesel was, after he lost the title to Bret Hart in 95 of Survivor Series that year, and Diesel went on a rampage, got upset, and then when Bret Hart fought The Undertaker, Diesel interrupted that matchup. Undertaker was upset, and it got to the point where, Diesel and Bret Hart faced each other in your house, a steel cage in 96. Undertaker pulled Diesel down, cost him the championship, and Diesel tried to get back at him by destroying a casket. But these two men were like, I think this was Diesel's last WrestleMania, I do believe. This was Diesel's final WrestleMania matchup as a WWE superstar. As you know, a few months later, he went to WCW to form the NWO. But this matchup between Diesel and Undertaker, these two guys, I mean, it's like, they were like close in size. Diesel probably got a couple inches above the Undertaker, but these two guys just went at it. I mean, they went, toe to toe, move for move. In the end, Undertaker did win the match to extend his WrestleMania winning streak at that time. So there's that. A women's matchup is on the card here. Trish Stratus and Mickie James. WrestleMania 22. As you know, Mickie James made her debut earlier in 2005, and later in 2005, as an obsessed fan of Trish Stratus. And it went over to a month until Saturday's main event, Mickie finally snapped, turned against Trish, and challenged her for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And a lot of people have been going for Mickie James in this situation, and got to the point where Mickie James, there was an incident where there was a moment where she grabbed Trish Stratus by the I'm not gonna say it, but a hoo-ha, I think that's what she said, but a hoo-ha, Pacino. But she won the title. Mickie James did beat Trish Stratus for the title in the end, and so it's like Trish and Mickie, they went at it. WrestleMania 22 was one of the best, that matchup. So that's why that match stood out to me. And Bret Hart versus Mr. McMahon, no holds barred, WrestleMania 26. Need I say more? This is Bret Hart's first WrestleMania since WrestleMania 13. So you're talking about 13 WrestleManias later afterwards. Bret Hart and Mr. McMahon. The way the match started off, it was all trying gamesmanship by Vince McMahon and Bret the Hitman Hart. Vince thought, because he's going to have lumberjacks at ringside, he had the entire Hart family with him. And they cut a promo with Bret Hart, says, you can put all the money away, all that, and they were not there. Even the Hart Dynasty was there. But then Bret Hart knew, he said he knew this was going to happen, so he decided that all along, Bret Hart and the Hart family were in cahoots the whole time. So the Bret Hart outsmarted Vince McMahon from a psychological standpoint. It was really crazy. And then it got, what, 13 years? Was it 13 years? 13 chair shots, one for each year. And I'm sure he probably put a couple of shots in for his brother Owen as well. But I digress. This was a personal matchup. And, I thought Vince McMahon would have somebody save his rear end, but nobody did. It got to the point where even the Hart Dynasty turned on Vince and joined, and then it was a crazy matchup. And then that's where the whole Nexus mess started up, that same year and all that. So it was really crazy, to say the least. And that's when Bret Hart, he also became general manager. He signed up the Usos. So, and we know the history of the Usos. So this is really, really cool. The fifth matchup, The Rock versus John Cena, WrestleMania 28, once in a lifetime. These two, this was another dream matchup. Like The Rock and Hogan, Rock and Cena. Cena's well on the way. That movie starred him as well. The Rock was there. He's been there, and he decided to go at it. When The Rock came back in 2011, and he hosted WrestleMania 27 at the time, which The Miz retained the title thanks to The Rock. But then John Cena said, "Hey, we should go at it at WrestleMania 28," and they decided to. And it was a heck of a match, and I believe John Cena won. I believe The Rock won that matchup against John Cena. So there's that. Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania 31. Obviously, this was Sting's first WrestleMania since signing with the company back in 2014 when he came over at Survivor Series. I know it was a short stay for Sting, but this was a matchup, like almost another dream matchup, so to speak. But we had the NWO and DX, getting involved in the matchup. It was the craziest moment ever. Even JBL and Michael Cole were hyping up, saying we're living in a time warp. It was like the Monday Night Wars come to WrestleMania. That's how crazy this was. And the reason why I like this matchup is because of that reason. Because we had two of the most popular factions in the 90s. The NWO, which Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall, being on Sting's side for once. Usually Sting is against the NWO at this point, but I think it's respect between Sting and those three gentlemen as well. And DX has been the clique and all that, but at the end, the two shook hands. A lot of respect there. Triple H has a lot of respect for Sting, which is really, really cool. But like I said, Sting and Triple H, I never thought that match would happen. All right, we're going to go back nostalgically to the 80s, WrestleMania 3. Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. The Intercontinental title was on the line, and it also when Savage injured Steamboat's throat, and then Steamboat made a comeback. He ended up winning the Intercontinental title, which kind of like changes Savage's trajectory from being a heel to a face. When I think a couple months later, Honky Tonk Man beat Steamboat for the Intercontinental title, and then Honky Tonk Man started running his mouth about being the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time. Savage took exception to that, and before you know it, him and Honky Tonk Man, the Hart Foundation, attacked Savage to the point where Miss Elizabeth recruited Hulk Hogan to help out Savage, and then the Mega Powers were born. And so I thought that matchup was very, very interesting, to say the least. A lot more Undertaker matches here at WrestleMania. I've always liked Undertaker matches. Jake the Snake Roberts against the Undertaker, WrestleMania A. As you know, this is the Undertaker's foray into being a babyface for the very first time, with being popular, being popular with the fans. He's like the anti-hero. Like I said, 1992 was a strange year. A lot of changes have happened, and obviously this is one of the great changes that happened. Undertaker being the good guy, being a popular superstar in the World Wrestling Federation then at the time, and this was a heck of a fight where Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Brain Heenan, they were on their game at WrestleMania 8 the whole entire event. Got to the point where Undertaker sat up from 2 DDTs and then with a tombstone, and that's when the popularity of the Undertaker started growing and growing and growing. And I think at that point, Undertaker started being one of the most popular superstars, and then even the announcers like Jim Ross and or even Gorilla Monsoon's, or even Vince McMahon's, they finally. And then 1992 was also a year when the Ultimate Warrior and Undertaker teamed up in live events. You hear their promos and like, oh my gosh, Warrior was putting over Taker with the way he cuts the promos, and it was so freaking cool. Yeah, it's crazy. But Jake the Snake Roberts and The Undertaker, and this is like the beginning of The Undertaker's popularity skyrocketing. And believe me, over the years, Undertaker, like I said, led to The Undertaker facing guys like the Berserker, Kamala, Nails at that point. Some of the, like guys closer to his size, his size and strength. You got Papa Shango, going at it with Taker. It was crazy. Another Undertaker matchup, one of the matches of my favorites, was Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez. Because The Undertaker never faced anybody bigger than he and that can manhandle and maul him. But The Undertaker has been dominant since coming into the World Wrestling Federation back in 1990. Nobody's ever to stop him. And then Harvey Whitman, after seeing Kamala get put in the coffin at Survivor Series 92, he decided, well, I'm going to turn Kamala into a good guy, and having Slick side with him, Reverend Slick, be his new manager. Harvey Whitman thought it would be time that, he found a way to destroy The Undertaker to defeat him. And then at Royal Rumble 93, out comes his near 8-foot monster, Giant Gonzalez. And dude was even bigger than The Undertaker, slammed him, manhandled him, mauled him. So WrestleMania, they went at it. And even though the match ended in a disqualification victory for The Undertaker, no less, it was like, it was so many crazy things happening, like The Undertaker getting taken out on a stretcher for the first time in The Undertaker's career. It got to the point where Jim Ross says, he's put a lot of bodies on stretchers. I've never seen him on one. And then when, The Undertaker just sat up on the stretcher, came back out, and Giant Gonzalez is like, what the heck? What the heck happened? What happened? So it was more like mind games by The Undertaker to conquer Giant Gonzalez, as and it culminated at SummerSlam 93 when The Undertaker beat Giant Gonzalez with the return of Paul Bearer at that time. Like I said, Undertaker's always... They got Undertaker always fighting and this was Vince's idea, at that point. Because when Undertaker first saw Yokozuna, he wanted to work with Yokozuna. But Vince goes, no, I got a better idea. I'm bringing in, I think Taker had to deal with him in WCW when he was Mean Mark Callis at the time. So I think Giant Gonzalez, I know a lot of people say, oh, that match kind of sucked and all that. But it was, what fascinated me when I was a young wrestling fan at the time was The Undertaker's ability to try to figure out how to counter an near 8-foot tall giant. It was crazy. Let me tell you, it was totally crazy, to say the least. WrestleMania 10, Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, Battle of the Brothers. As you know, Owen went fully heel after the Royal Rumble, and Bret Hart says, you know what, I have no choice, I have to fight. This was a heck of a matchup, to say the least. And this kind of put Owen Hart definitely on the map for good. At that point, when Owen Hart did beat Bret in a roll-up, and Bret Hart knew he still got that but Bret Hart kind of not, he kind of felt bad. Yeah, he did lose to his brother, but in the back of his back pocket, he still has a title match to contend with. But maybe that affected him, his momentum. But he did fight hard against Yokozuna later that night and defeated him. Now Owen Hart knew what he had to do at that point, and that, with Bret Hart being the champion and Owen Hart beating Bret at WrestleMania in the first match of the card, WrestleMania 10, that would start the feud between the two brothers. And brought back Jim the Animal Neidhart and the British Bulldog at that point. So it was something to, and it was a heck of a matchup. Yeah, so I just why I like the matchup. It's not because it's brother. I don't believe in family fighting each other. But we live in a time nowadays that unfortunately that's the case because of politics, religion, whatnot, and everything else. But when it came to wrestling matches, though, Bret and Owen put on a clinic, put on a great show, put on a great matchup to say the least. And last year's WrestleMania 38, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn, that no holds barred, anything goes kind of matchup. It was a crazy matchup. It was very entertaining. We saw Party Boy Chris Pontius come out and do his thing, which is hilarious. And you got Wee Man body slamming Sami Zayn. Giant Mousetrap. The Chaz the Jackass was helping Johnny Knoxville. It was a very entertaining matchup. And Sami Zayn said this was one of his favorite matches to do. And I thought it was really, really cool. Makes it entertaining, a lot of fun. And Sami Zayn was an entertaining guy. He makes things fun. Especially with his, then it got him into the Bloodline, which really put him over with fans at that point. And I gotta tell you, this was a heck of a feud, to say the least, and this was a heck of a matchup. Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn, it was crazy. You know, it had Brock Lesnar slam Wee Man through a table, which was earlier that night. It was crazy, but Wee Man body slamming Sami Zayn was a lot of fun to watch. It was a really cool thing, and I think Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn was all right. Next three WrestleMania, my favorite WrestleMania matches involved the Dead Man. WrestleMania 11, The Undertaker versus King Kong Bundy. This was a dream match of mine as well. King Kong Bundy was a very powerful dude back in the 80s. And he was a dominant force. And then when I saw Undertaker, I was like, imagine an Undertaker goes one-on-one with King Kong Bundy. King Kong Bundy at that time was a member of the $1 Million Corporation with Ted DiBiase in 95. And see him and Undertaker go at it was crazy. And Kama came out and stole the urn and threatened to melt it into a necklace, which it did. But even Taker and King Kong Bundy and Taker body slam Bundy. That was Bundy's like 400 outweight. So another battle of the big. I'm always like Undertaker battling big guys because you never know people equal to his size and weight or bigger than him. I've always liked to see Undertaker have those kind of challenges. So I know Taker says he likes working with the smaller superstars like Rey Mysterio and all, and it gives him time to adjust. So I like that one. Taker versus Psycho Sid, WrestleMania 13 for the title. This was a battle of former Skyscraper partners. Sid was part of the Skyscrapers with Danny Spivey, and then Undertaker was known as Mark Callis back at the time. WCW took over for Sid, but these are a battle of former Skyscrapers from the WCW days. And then you got, they had their feud back in 1991, and this was another battle of the big guys, Sid and Taker going at it. This was a heck of a matchup, and WrestleMania 13 ended up winning the matchup and winning the title to extend his WrestleMania streak. WrestleMania 14, Undertaker versus Kane. Storyline started in October of 97 and culminated in WrestleMania March of 98. This was the most insane matchup ever between the two big brothers. They're both 7 foot tall, both over 300 on the 330-pound mark. But Taker was quicker, more agile. I think he weighed less a little bit, probably 320 or 3. I know he was up in the 300-pound mark, but Taker was moving with such great ease. It took 3 tombstones to beat Kane, but nonetheless, Kane did win the match. Undertaker did win the matchup, but it was a battle of two big guys. Both are athletic. They went all out in that matchup for the first time, and I thought it was totally nuts. They feuded for a while until late 2001, when they joined forces as the Brothers of Destruction and became dominant in the tag team scene, as they were the first team to simultaneously become WWE and WCW Tag Team Champions in 2001. And then WrestleMania 34, the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. The reason why I liked it was a debut of a lot of NXT superstars at that point. Kairi Sane, I think Peyton Royce, and Tainara Conti. Tainara Conti. It meant and then had some of the ladies in, and then they were like in unison chanting NXT. So that is the first WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. It was a huge battle royal, and I forgot who. I think it was Naomi or Carmella to win it. That won the first one, but it was supposed to be called the Fabulous Moolah Invitational Battle Royal, a Memorial Battle Royal, but because of the controversy with Moolah behind the scenes, even though Moolah is no longer with us, it was so they had to say the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. Hope they do that again and have it called the China Memorial Battle Royal. If China is getting inducted this year, if China gets inducted this year, but we shall see who gets inducted this year. So far, Rey Mysterio has. Also, WrestleMania 35, Bryan Danielson defending the title against Kofi Kingston. Kofi Mania, and a lot of people believe a lot and Kofi Kingston been in the company 11 years. Was Intercontinental champ. He was United States champ. He's been tag team champion. He's never been WWE champion. He fought hard. He fought hard for this championship, and he fought hard for this matchup. And the match, when Kofi won the title in the end, and I remember, Davey was breaking down in tears. Kofi invited his family up to celebrate with him. The New Day brothers came up to celebrate with him. Everybody was in the back, watching the matchup, happy and celebrating as well for Kofi. That's why I like this matchup, because it culminated for a journey for Kofi Kingston. I know it's a shame he lost to Brock Lesnar a few months later, which a lot of people are not very happy about that. But might I digress? This is a great special moment for Kofi Kingston. That's why Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston is one of my favorite matchups. Where are we at? I think it looks like we're matchup number 17 here. WrestleMania 35, same WrestleMania, the women's main event. Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch for both the titles, which Becky did unite. Becky Lynch worked hard for this. And these three women worked hard to get a main event WrestleMania. I know Becky Lynch probably wanted it more than Charlotte and Ronda did, but I know a lot of people don't like Ronda Rousey, and these ladies, that's when they brawled each other to the point where they had to be shoved in separate cop cars. Was it a couple of weeks before that WrestleMania? It was crazy, but in the end, Becky Lynch ended up winning the matchup. So, my 18th favorite WrestleMania matchup, the British Bulldogs versus the Dream Team for WrestleMania 2 for the tag team titles. You had Ozzy Osbourne in the corner of the Bulldogs. As you know, the Bulldogs are one of my favorite tag teams, and this was their first tag team championship victory. It was great to see Captain Lou still doing the management thing, and in fact, with the Bulldogs winning the titles, it would be the Bulldog. It will be like one of his 18th and 19th team to win the tag team titles, and that gave Albano some history, since he knows a lot about tag teams. So, as you know, the 20th tag team was the Head Shrinkers back in May of '94. But to say the least, it was a crowning achievement for Captain Lou Albano, and possibly Captain Lou's final WrestleMania at that time. So, because he didn't, I don't think he appeared in WrestleMania 3 or 4 or even 5. I don't know what. I don't even appear in any WrestleManias afterwards. So if anybody wants to let me know, check it out. But I think so. I think Lou Albano at that point could retire as a manager. I think he did. He was behind the scenes, but he did. He played Mario in the Super Mario Bros. Super Show and whatnot. All right, match number 19: Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff in WrestleMania 1. This was the culmination of the rock and wrestling era, feuding with guys like Piper and Orndorff, and everything else. We thought the war to settle the score was it. Even though I think Hogan retained the title and all, but I think this tag match kind of sealed the deal on that. Like that put this matchup put not only WrestleMania on the map, but puts the World Wrestling Federation at that time on the map as one of the most powerful wrestling companies ever. This is during the territory area at that time, and and just with Hogan and Mr. T had a lot of celebrities. And every time you get WrestleMania, you got a lot of celebrities involved. So this was a tough list to make. If I decided 30, it would be going on for an hour. But I decided to do my top 20. And my final, the 20th and final favorite WrestleMania match, my personal favorite WrestleMania matches, would be Strike Force versus Demolition for the tag team titles back at WrestleMania 4. Again, Demolition's first crack at the tag team championship ever since Strike Force defeated the Hart Foundation for the gold. And this match could have gone either way, but Demolition did end up winning the titles with the help of Mr. Fuji and his cane, and and I think the first reign of the tag team titles was the longest reign at that time. So that began the longest reign of the tag team championships. So yeah. So and these are all okay. These were all the matches. Let me just cover this. These are all the matches that I have. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's these were. I've already did this list. So these are all the matches. Now, if you guys think that these are my personal favorite 20 favorite WrestleMania matches over the years of WrestleMania. But what match am I looking forward to this year's WrestleMania? Definitely, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. I'm hoping that Cody Rhodes does win. Another one is the 6-woman tag team matchup, because this will be the first WrestleMania for Dakota Kai and Io Sky, which personally I can't wait. Io Sky wanted to perform at a WrestleMania. That was part of her, one of her dreams, be part of WrestleMania, and this is a huge opportunity for her to really shine out. And against legends like Trish Stratus and Lita, who's one half of the tag team champs with Becky Lynch right now. So this is a huge moment. That's why I believe that. That's why the 6-woman tag team match will be my favorite matchup. Now, Brock Lesnar and Omos. This is a bittersweet match with a lot of people not looking forward to this. This match was Vince's idea, but this could be Brock Lesnar's swan song as an in-ring competitor at WrestleMania. He's planning on retiring this year. So I think a Hall of Fame career, definitely Brock Lesnar will be a first ballot, no doubt. But it will be it'll be a challenge for Brock Lesnar going up against the 7'3" Omos. So, and who knows what's going to happen. The Intercontinental title, I think I'm looking forward to that at WrestleMania, because I know this will be Gunther's first WrestleMania. If Sheamus wins again, it'll be the third time the charm. I think third time the charm. But Sheamus wins again, I think Sheamus may walk out as Intercontinental Champion. But I would like to see that. But also, also it could be a great story for Sheamus as well if he does win the matchup this Friday night on SmackDown, because I'm telling you, it's going to be a heck of a deal, man. It's going to be a heck of a fight, definitely. Let's see. That's the two matches I'm looking forward to. It's something, it's going to be something, to say the least. It's going to be a lot of fun. WrestleMania I'm looking forward to, but right now, so that's it. That's all the time I have on this show. Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, episode 422 of the show, and the 5th episode of the Top of the Shenanigan charts, where I talked about 20 personal favorite WrestleMania matches. So it's suggested by Godfather Dominic Williams. So thank you, Godfather Dominic, for sure. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And until the next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, please take us home.
That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Lima speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, do it for Bob Saget production. And in association with A Sweet Bowl for Raving Dingleberries Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another great episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Until the next episode, goodbye for now.